Welcome to the Sales Queen podcast, where we teach women how to turn their skills into sales and monetize their message so they can finally sell with the clarity, confidence, and certainty that they've always wanted to. No longer does the game of sales need to be an old boys club. It's time for you to sell like a queen. Well, hello. Diving right in. Today we're going to be talking about the difference between nervous energy and toxic energy. Okay? Now, this applies to every room that you ever walk in. This applies to every interview you will ever do, podcast, pageant interview, on stage, public speaking. This also applies to dating. This applies to how you're perceived by people in every room that you walk in. Okay? And when you get this fixed, you can thank me in advance, okay? Because I promise you, there's an inner unlocking that happens when you understand the difference and then you master the difference. And I want to talk about that today because whether you need this flowing of confident energy for whatever reason you need it for, whether you need it to walk on stage at a pageant, whether you need it to close the biggest sale of your life, whether you need it to learn how to be vulnerable in front of people and you're going on a bunch of dates and you feel like you're asking for, second dates, or you're wanting a second date and people aren't paying attention to you, or you walk into a room and people don't notice you. One of a kind of a crazy, this is probably pretty wild to be honest, but one of the things I work on with a lot of my clients, specifically in pageants, but also in business too, and with my public speakers, is I'll have them do like a month challenge where I ask them, do people notice you when you walk into a room? It's one of my favorite things. Do people notice you when you walk into a room? Do they do this? It's literally that they sense an energy walking into the room. It's crazy, you guys. Okay, now, yes, do I have an advantage because I am 6 feet tall? Yes, I do. So people stare at me everywhere I go. My husband has blonde hair like Thor. Everybody asks him if it's fake. It looks fake. It's extremely white. No, it's real. I promise. He does not dye it. And what's interesting is, great, people, stare at me because I'm tall, but people also stare at me when I'm sitting down. So what is that, right? And have you guys ever walked into a room or you've noticed, you've been sitting in a room, you've been standing in a room, let's say you're at a networking event, and all of a sudden you do this. Maybe something's there, maybe it's not, but you sensed an energy. Usually it's because a person walked into the room, okay? And I believe that through metaphysics and things like that, like when my husband walks into a room, I like know that he's there. When you're married, there's like a weird sense of, well, two become one, right? So you are one soul, literally. Like God has wired you to fire together. So like I'll know when my husband comes home, I'll pick up my phone right before my husband's going to call me. Like it just works that way, right? So what's crazy is, have you ever thought that you can have that kind of relationship with yourself? You can have that synchronicity, that unity, right? And then we add God into the mix too, and it's like even better, right? So nervous energy versus toxic energy, okay? Let me tell you what nervous energy is. You can turn heads because you give people nervous energy. You can turn heads when you give people toxic energy. And you can also turn heads when you're this charismatic it factor of a human being that walks in with all this charisma, even if you're an introvert. Okay. And I'm going to tell you guys how. So here are a couple things. First of all, why nervous energy and toxic energy are different. So nervous energy is, and again, these are my definitions. These are not universal definitions, by the way. But nervous energy for me is, so nervousness and excitement come from the same place. Nervousness and excitement come from the same place. So whether you're on a sales call or again, whatever kind of stage that you're on, if it's virtual, if it's in person, if it's whatever, you need to know how to turn the nervous energy into excitement. Now, how do we do that? We do that through visualization, imagination, and mental rehearsal. So for all of my clients, I have a ritual, a mental mapping ritual that they go through. And one of the things that I have every single one of my clients do is I have them ask themselves, what are the top 3 words that you want people to say about you after this encounter? It could be a networking event, it could be a first date, It could be a public speaking stage. It could be a sales call. It could be a pageant. I don't care what it is. It could be a networking event. Okay. Any of those things, I promise you, if you sit in your car before it happens, or maybe you're sitting here, on Zoom or whatever, and you imagine, want to know how the name Powerhouse came about? Powerhouse Pageantry, my first company. Powerhouse Pageantry came about. I didn't have a name for 2.5 years, didn't have a website, didn't have a logo, didn't have anything. I was just Megan doing coaching. Okay. And the name Powerhouse Pageantry finally came about because of the internal transformation that I had gone through, where every room that I would be in, people would describe me and they'd say, dang, she's a powerhouse. Megan, you're a powerhouse. Man, you're like this force. You're this powerhouse. And so I determined that the way that I felt about myself, the confident, calm, relaxed energy, just being comfortable in my own skin, I defined that as what it means to be a powerhouse for me. And then I learned that the powerhouse of the cell, I would study, like, this is so nerdy. I would study the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell. It literally means like you have this energy on the inside of you that is electric, that literally makes everything else in your entire body go, right? Because your mitochondria, I think it has what, like ATP and these different things, right? It literally is like the powerhouse of the cell. And I was like, yeah, that fits. That feels right to me. I try that on. I put that bodysuit on of Powerhouse. I'm like, yeah, it's totally me. Like, let's go, right? That's totally me. And I just did that in my coaching. I wanted everybody that I worked with to feel like that. So I named my business accordingly, right? Same with Sales Queen. Why? I can't tell you how many clients I've gotten that said, you want to know why I reached out to you? You want to know what I booked a call with you? Because you were daring enough to call yourself the sales queen. And I love that energy and I want that energy. And I was like, love it. Right. And then when they get to discover that to get that, it's a really beautiful pathway of dying to yourself in a lot of ways, dying to your flesh, and being willing to do a lot of the soul work, the emotional intelligence work, humbling yourself, throwing your flesh on the altar, being like, I'm an idiot. God, thank you for correcting me in private. That would have been really stupid and embarrassing. Humbling myself, throwing myself on the altar again because I would have done something really dumb. And then with that and that humble heart, being able to build a skill set that people want to be around, want to work with. Okay. So this powerhouse, okay, what is that word for you? What is that word for you? Typically, there's like one word that your soul is like longing to hear. Okay. Maybe look at your Enneagram type. Maybe look at other personality things. Maybe think about like maybe when you were on a date, or if you're married, your spouse, what they said to you, and it just felt like a glove. Oh, it just felt like the comfiest pair of sweatpants in the whole world, but they had pink sparkles on the outside too, and they're like, these are kind of cute, but also like so comfy. What is that word for you? How can you put that on before each of these experiences that naturally will stretch you? And I promise you, if you do this one thing, this one mental exercise, bang, bang, boom, like I promise you. And I'm not just saying like, okay, I said powerhouse. I said 5 affirmations to myself. That's not going to work. It's literally not going to work. Okay. You have to think about it so hard. We use something called the self-coaching model in all of my businesses. Okay. And it is the practice of thinking about something so meticulously and so intentionally that it becomes an emotion, which then fuels your actions and fuels the results that come. Okay. Situation, emotion, action, result. Or sorry, situation, thought, emotion, action, result. That's the way that your brain works. So we might as well work with our brain in terms of thinking about something so intensely, so on offense, so meticulously, and putting it in the forward part of our brain. I am a powerhouse. And I let that seep into my being and my imagination. I start to think about, well, what would it look like if this speech went perfectly? What would it look like? What would it feel like if this sales call went perfectly? What would it feel like to close 50% of this room right now? What would it feel like to have people say these things about me? Because I make people feel XYZ, comfortable, loved, encouraged, safe, protected, empowered, whatever that is for you, you know? And I think it's really important for us to know like what those words are. So many people don't. And then you're just walking into a room or a situation or a competitive environment or a situation that you need to win, okay? Business, relationships, whatever it is, okay? And you don't even know what your end goal is. Like, okay, great. You know that you want to win, but you haven't even like quantified how you win or lose in reality and how you're going to get there. Okay. So this one imagination technique, I promise you guys, if you feel like a hero or you feel like a zero or you feel like somewhere in between, this one imagination exercise, okay, will help you to build yourself into that next level of identity, which then will inform your emotions, your actions, and the results that you get. Okay. The most successful people in the world act from a positioning of future self, present. They go and grab the thing that they need from the future, as if I already made 8 figures, as if I already won this pageant, as if I already found the man of my dreams and felt safe in this relationship and was totally supported. And then they act from that positioning, not in a fake, arrogant way, but in an expectation, in a faith, a level of faith, a measure of faith that they take on and they put on around themselves. Okay. And it says that in the Bible that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. So really that's just the process. How do I build my faith? Well, it says that faith comes by hearing by the word of God. You get what you think about. Okay? There's so many scriptures in the Bible that literally say think on these things. I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. But meditate on the word of God, think on these things, all these different things day and night. I always say there's 2 options, day and night. Did you get it? There's no in between. Anyways, so this one mental exercise, I want you guys to do this. Okay. This is how we put on that charisma. And then eventually, since your brain doesn't know the difference between real and fake, it will start to act as if. It will literally start to act from this place where your brain doesn't even know that it's fake anymore, because it isn't fake anymore. Because now it's become a part of you, which is so cool. Okay. So that's the great energy. That's where we want to go. Now, what is this nervous energy? This nervous energy is where there is a dissonance between who you feel like you need to be, but who you are choosing to believe that you are. And instead of translating that into excitement, which, by doing something like we just talked about, because it does come from the same place, without being able to coach yourself through that and say, you know what, I don't have to be nervous about this. I really am just excited. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I can do this. Nervousness is the difference between that and nervous people. Nervous energy has not yet detached themselves from the final result. Nervous energy has not yet detached themselves from the end result. Okay. And when you have not detached yourself from the end result, it comes across as needy. It comes across as begging. It comes across as, I need this more than you need me. And it does not make sales. It does not transact in relationships, and it does not help you win at any level. People think they step into nervous energy because they think that it's more humble for some reason, but it's not. Did you guys know that one of the greatest top 5, you can go look this up, one of the top 5 traits for highly successful people is their ability to self-deprecate? Did you know that? Now, what do I mean by that? I can laugh at the fact that I'm tall, and it makes you laugh because I'm actually comfortable being tall. Comfortable being taller than my husband in heels, comfortable wearing 7-inch heels, being 6'7" if I want. Don't really care if you stare at me. You're going to stare at me anyway, even with flats, so I might as well be taller. I might as well rock it. Own the million dollar legs that God gave me, right? So I could say the same thing. Guys, this is so important. Like, take this for anything that you ever have to communicate for an interview, for a sales call, for a speech, for literally anything. Okay. Hear me, hear me, hear me. I could technically say the exact same 2 things. Okay. I could proficiently even technically say the same 2 things, the same 2 sentences, but the way and the heart of which I say them, okay, which will produce itself in pacing, in body language and facial expressions, and in the way that it makes you feel as I say it. Self-deprecation over here, same exact sentence makes you feel totally nervous and weird and awkward. Anybody ever been in that situation? All of us who have been on bad first dates. Oh, I have so many stories I could tell. So bad, you guys, like so bad, where you're messaging them, everything seemed great. Maybe you even talked on the phone once, whatever. I'm totally telling on myself right now, years ago. And then you meet them in person and you're like, what happened to you? There is something wrong with this equation. This is not adding up. What did you do with this person, and who did you trade them for their less impressive twin? Something is wrong here, right? Or they just make you feel 5 layers of awkward and you're like, I know that I just heard a joke, but now I just actually want to, like, do you need a hug? Are you okay? And this is the difference of our internal, what we think and feel and choose about ourselves, and like I said, have you put on, I am a powerhouse, I believe I'm a powerhouse? Or is there this disconnect where you're like, please choose me, please need me, please want me, please validate my identity, please validate my existence, because I actually don't know if I'm worthy. I'm putting it on social media, I'm worthy, but I actually don't know what I think about myself. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. I hope, please validate me, okay? So it's this balance of like, we want to put on who we want to become until we believe it. And we want to do that as quickly as possible. This is where it's super important who you hang out with, who's mentoring you, how do they speak, how do the people around you speak, where do you hang out, what's the energy around the places that you hang out. Do people complain all the time? Are people negative all the time? Are people apathetic all the time? That's going to rub off on you. Is everybody that you hang out with anxious? Is everybody that you hang out with nervous? Is everybody that you hang out with uncertain? This will affect your life, which is why you are the summation of the 5 people that you hang out with, and your circle is so incredibly important, okay? So that's nervous energy. Learn how to detach yourself from the result because you trust yourself. You trust the path that you're walking on. You trust that God has led you to this place, okay? And you trust that you have the skill set, or at least the training to get there, and that you've done the work, okay? That's how we reverse engineer confidence and results. Now, number 3 is toxic energy, okay? Toxic energy is attached to a controlling spirit. Toxic energy is attached to a controlling spirit. And toxic energy you can sense because it has a voice. Toxic energy are these people that, yes, of course, it's gaslighters, it's narcissists, it's all these different things, okay? But on a more minute, like tangible level, it's a gut feeling, it's a Holy Spirit feeling where it's like, I don't think you're a safe person. Okay. Now, we don't want to let our past just immediately write people off because of different things that we've been through, right? We don't just label people and cut them off and call them toxic. That's not healthy. Don't do that. But the spirit on the inside of you also knows, oof, I don't have peace about that. I don't think I should go on that date. I don't think I should hire that mentor. I don't think I should buy that. I do think I should buy that. I do think I should hire that mentor. Man, I don't know about that first date, but for some reason I feel like I should go out with him again. I don't know about that friend. Maybe I shouldn't go out tonight. Maybe I shouldn't drive there. Maybe I shouldn't go on this trip with this person. The Holy Spirit will lead you and guide you all the time because he leads you into beside still waters and he wants to restore your soul in the process. Psalm 23. Okay. So follow a pathway of peace. If there is somebody, it could be a person in a position of authority. Unfortunately, that happens a lot and I hate it so much. It could be a client. That's happened to me before where I've had to fire clients in the past because I was just like, got it. This is not right. Like, this should not be this hard. This should not make me feel this way, right? Or if it sends you into a panic, or sends you into needing to speed up timelines on their behalf. Somebody, okay? That is a huge thing. Toxic energy will always make you play your game on their terms. I'm preaching to somebody right now, okay? Toxic energy will always make you play your game on their terms. Sometimes they'll even make you play their game on their terms. And you're like, I signed up for volleyball. Why are we playing softball? It's wild. So be really mindful about that. And if the answer to everything is, and I need it now, and I need it yesterday, and you have no choice and they take out your ability to like think and choose and act and trust your own feelings for yourself, that is toxic energy and you need to trust it. Okay. So, no, you don't have to work at that place. You don't have to be in that relationship. You don't have to be friends with them. You don't have to communicate with any of those people. Okay. And if you are that person, then you need to get delivered and go work on your soul and your spirit and let me know if that is you. Great. Like that's who you have been. It's not who you have to be. God is a good God and he will help you through any of that, even your soul stuff. If you're like, "Man, am I the toxic one?" Well, great. Like you didn't just become toxic. Like you probably had a bunch of crap in your life that made you this way, that makes you feel like you have to control everything, right? And so that's the beauty of surrender. Like we can come to God and say, "Lord, I screwed up. I think my personality screwed up. I think I'm the problem. I need help." And God will be like, "My precious daughter, thank you so much for coming to me. You've come to the right place. I'm going to walk you step by step." Okay. So this is a great episode today. You know what? I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys found some freedom in today. And I want you guys, if you guys are a part of our Sales Queen group, on Facebook, you guys can go to www.facebook.com/groups/7-figure sales group. That's what the group used to be called. Or just click the link in the show notes below. I'd love for you to post your biggest takeaway from today about nervous energy, about toxic energy, or about the charisma and the it factor energy, and maybe even post in the group the word that we talked about earlier of what you feel like that word is supposed to be for you. Okay. We'll have a little snippet of this episode too. If you guys want to post that word in the comments of what that looks like in the short form version of this, that'd be cool too. But I'd love to start a discussion on this because I think it's really important for us as women to acknowledge who we want to be as opposed to just kind of generally thinking about it and then criticizing a bunch of things. I think it's important to categorize um, what these things actually are, right? So that we can look out for them and we can reverse engineer the result that we do want rather than just hoping that we don't have the result that we don't want. The last thing that I'll say is for those of you guys who have been listening to this podcast for a very long time, or some of you guys who are new, I do want to encourage you in two different pathways. Okay. So, one, if you're ready to dive in and build your business, then I would love to introduce you to Sales School. You can actually hop into our Sales Queen group, which is our free group. DM me on Instagram. Our team will get back to you, or click the link below in the show notes to set up a free strategy call, which is where we will walk you through the next 1 to 2 to 3 steps of your business to help you scale your sales to 6 or 7 figures. And then if you are a budding new business owner and you are somebody that is brand new, just starting out, you don't necessarily think that you're ready for a coach yet, or you're still getting to know me a little bit, then like I said, hop into the Sales Queen group. We do free trainings all the time. At the time of this recording, I have a masterclass, 3-day masterclass for free that's going to walk you through and teach you my entire millionaire mindset strategy, my superwoman sales strategy and system. And then also our offer and lead generation of how you can get your first 1,000 leads for free in under 10 minutes. So it's going to be amazing. That's going on May 17th to 19th. So I don't know when you guys will be watching this, but replays are always up on the inside of the group. And when you join the group, we're also going to give you some goodies for free, which my team will deliver to you as soon as you join the group. So it's absolutely free. If you're not ready to get mentored and join our amazing community of powerful women that are looking to scale their lives, their marriages, and their businesses, and that's awesome. Just step into our Sales Queen group and we will embrace you with open arms. And make sure you introduce yourself too when you come in the group, because I love to know kind of the pulse on who's in the group so I can keep making trainings that matter to you. And if you're ready to jump into sales school, like I said, we will help you scale your sales to 6 or 7 figures using simple methods. In fact, our training just takes 1 hour a day for the first 90 days. We kind of walk you through a step-by-step process and a sprint of how you can set up everything in your business. Or if you're already making a bunch of money and you already have a proven offer, we can help you scale that as well. So I can't wait to see you guys in either pathway that you choose. And thanks for watching and listening. I'll see you next week.